What's up, my friends? Welcome back to another episode of Theory Hammer, where today we are continuing our Warhammer 40k index review series with the Imperial Knights, the big, stompy, giant robots. They're awesome. They're the size of a house. They're just great. So, if I make any mistakes here, even though I have read this, you guys need to tell me down below. Leave a comment and tell us what you think about the Imperial Knights, and of course, like the video and subscribe to Theory Hammer and hit the bell icon. That way all of our Imperial propaganda can be notified to you every time we have a new video. So we're just going to get into it, folks. We're going to stomp on into it. Stomp, 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 right into the Imperial Knights. Let's go. Alright, so we have the army rules. This is our Code Chivalric. I might say this wrong. In fact, I'm going to say so many things wrong. It's going to be fine. If your army faction is Imperial Knights, at the end of the Read Mission Objective step, you must select one of the oaths below to be active for your army. So, okay, so this happens pre-game. Models from your army with this ability gain the associated oath ability, and you gain the associated deed to complete. If at the start of any command phases, your selected oath deed is completed, your army becomes honored for the rest of the battle, and you gain 3 CP. You can only gain 3 CP this way once per battle, and CP regained this way are an exemption to the core rules that limit the amount you can gain. Okay. So, your oaths are either Lay Low the Tyrant or Reclaim the Realm. Lay Low the Tyrant says, oath ability is that each time this model is selected to shoot or fight, reroll a single hit roll of 1 and a single wound roll of 1. Yeah, so reroll a single hit of 1 and a single wound of 1. That's each time it's selected to shoot or fight, so that's pretty good. Its deed is that once completed, if you destroy your enemy warlord, that's what you get. That's what you do. You destroy the enemy warlord. That's your deed. If you want to reclaim the realms, though, your oath ability is that you add 1 to the move characteristic and 1 to the advance and charge rolls made for models in this army. It's pretty good, too. This deed is completed if you control 1 or more objective markers in your opponent's deployment zone. So that's pretty difficult to do. So you got Bondsman abilities. Some Questoris models have Bondsman abilities tagged with the word Bondsman in your command phase. 1 or more models from your army with the Bondsman ability can use that ability. For each one that does, select one friendly Armiger model within 12 inches of that model. You cannot select an Armiger that's already been selected. And until the start of your next command phase, that Armiger model is you selected is affected by the Bondsman abilities. This was changed a little bit recently, where this used to affect the Imperial Knight that gave out the ability as well. So definitely a nerf there. There's been a few nerfs to the Imperial Knights since this has come out. One of them being its Lay Low the Tyrant ability. So this used to be reroll maybe any hit rolls and wound rolls of 1. It wasn't really clear the way it was worded, so now it's very clear. And this used to affect your big knights as well, but not anymore. You have Super Heavy Walker, so you can move over stuff that's 4 inches or less in height as if it were not there. Except for Titanic things, which nothing Titanic is going to be 4 inches or less, I don't think. Maybe a Bane Blade, actually, yeah. Alright, so free blades. If every model in your army has the Imperium keyword, you could include 1 Titanic Imperial Knights model or up to 3 Armiger models in your army, even though they do not have the faction keyword you selected at the select army faction step. None of these models can be your warlord, and they cannot be given enhancements. Alright, so this is your detachment rule. This is the shitty one that you get for now. It's actually really good. It's 6 up, feel no pain. Very simple, very straightforward. If your army is honored, you get a 5 up, feel no pain instead. I just really like this. Having that extra durability is great. Alright, so these are your enhancements. You got Revered Knight. This is an aura. Imperial Knights model only. While a friendly Imperial Knights model is within 6 inches of the bearer, improve the model's leadership characteristic by 1. If your army is honored, increase the range of this aura by 12. So that's kind of shit. Don't ever take that. Take this. Take Mysterious Guardian. It's an Imperial Knight model only. The bearer has Deep Strike. Once per battle at the end of your opponent's turn. If the bearer is not within engagement range of any enemy units, it can fade away. If it does, remove it from the battlefield. Then, in the reinforcement step of your subsequent movement phase, set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. If the battle ends, the bearer is not on the battlefield, it is destroyed. So that's awesome. Mythic Hero. This is also pretty good if I remember. Questoris model with the Bondsman ability only. Each time the bearer uses a Bondsman ability, you can select 1 additional friendly Armiger models within 12 inches of the bearer that is not already being affected by a Bondsman ability until the start of your next command phase. That model also is affected by that Bondsman ability. So it doubles up. You can give it to 2 things. So pretty good. Banner of Macarius Triumphant. This is also very good. Imperial Knights model only. If you control an objective marker at the end of your command phase and the bearer is within range of an objective marker, of that objective marker specifically, it becomes sticky. So that objective marker remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it until your opponent controls it. So awesome. Questoris mod only for the unyielding Paragon. It's the last one. Questoris only. Each time an attack is allocated to the bearer, worsen the armor penetration characteristic by 1, so it's got armor of contempt all the time. If you can find that on something with a 2-up save, like give that to something with a 2-up save, that's probably better. I don't think anything in this book has a 2-up save, but maybe in the Forge World one. Check out that series as well. We have a series for Forge World indexes. We also go for points in those as well. We're not going over points here, though. Cool Imperial Knight symbol without the chaos thing around it, so that's cool. Looks pretty cool. Cool stuff. I don't hate this picture as much with this in the way. It's one of the ones that takes up the least amount of space. Alright, so then we got stratagems. You have Shoulder the Burden. It's battle tactics for 2 CP, and there's a couple that are 2 CP, but you can gain 3 at once, so... This happens in your command phase. 1 Imperial Knight's model from your army that has lost 1 or more wounds, so it has to happen in your turn. The start of your turn, basically. Until the start of your next command phase, improve that model's move, toughness, save, leadership, objective control by 1, and each time it makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. You can only use the stratagem once per battle. If your army is honored, you can use it 1 additional time. You have Rotate Ion Shields. We all know what this one is, but I'll tell you. Wargear Stratagem for 1 CP happens in your opponent's shooting phase, just after your target is selected. So you pick the Imperial Knight that was the target of those attacks. The Imperial Knight gets a 4-up invuln against those ranged attacks only. Thunderstomp, Epic Deed for 1 CP. It's in the fight phase. 1 Imperial Knight's model from your army that has not been selected to fight yet is the target. And then until the end of the phase, your model cannot target monsters or vehicles, but all melee weapons equipped by your model have devastating wounds. So that can just go up to something and crump it. Crump it pretty good. Crump it just like an orc. So you got Squire's Duty next. That's Battle Tactics Stratagem for 1 CP. This happens at the start of your shooting or fight phase. 2 or more armor models from your army and 1 enemy unit that is an eligible target for them. Until the end of the phase when resolving the attacks. Improve the strength and armor penetration characteristic of those attacks by 1. If your army is honored, improve the damage by 1 as well. So if you have the autocannon armigers, they will be strength 10, AP 2, and damage 4 flat. And it's got 8 shot with that, so that's pretty good. You also have Trophy's Claim, which is another 2 CP strat, which is an epic deed. This happens in your shooting or fight phase. 1 Imperial Knight model from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight, and 1 enemy monster or vehicle. Until the end of the phase, each time your model makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, add 1 to the wound roll. If you destroy the model, you gain 1. If you destroy the unit, you gain 1 CP, but if you don't destroy it, you cannot use the stratagem again. And then you have Valiant Last Stand for 2 CP. It's in the fight phase. 1 Imperial Knight model from your army that was just destroyed and that is eligible to fight but has not been selected to fight. You can use the stratagem even though it was just destroyed. Before rolling to see if it blows up, it can fight. When doing so, it's assumed to have 1 wound remaining, or all of its wounds remaining if your army is honored. After finishing the attacks, roll its deadly demise. You cannot target Sir Hector. He either has to jump out and become Sir Hector, or he explodes. You can't do both. You don't get both. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Armiger Helvrin's the first one up here. All of the Armigers have the same profile. There's only 3 of them, I think. Maybe 2. The Armiger Helvrin has a 12-inch move with toughness of 10, 3+ save, 12 wounds, leadership 7, and OC of 8. Its ranged weapons are an autocannon, so this is going to be 48-inch range with 4 shots. Everything's hitting on 3s. Shooting, combat, it's all hitting on 3s. If it's different, I will point that out. So the Armiger autocannon, 48 inches, 4 shots, strength 9, AP 1, flat 3 damage. Melt-A-Gun, Melta 2, 12-inch range with a single shot, strength 9, AP 4, D6 damage. And then you got your Questoris Heavy Stubber, rapid fire 3, 36-inch range. 3 shots, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1. Armored Feet, it's got 4 attacks in combat at strength 6, AP 0, damage 1. Deadly Demise D3, Code Chivalric, and then Skyfire Protocol. While this model is either wholly within your deployment zone or within range of an objective marker, its Armiger autocannons have Anti-Fly 2+. Okay. While it has 1 to 4 wounds remaining, it's -1 to hit. You subtract, it has a 5-up invuln, jeez. Okay, so it's got 2 Armiger autocannons. It's got its Heavy Stubber and Armored Feet. It can replace its Heavy Stubber with a Melt-A-Gun. It's got Vehicle, Walker, Battle Line, Imperium, Armiger. So it can take 6 of those because they're Battle Line. And then you have the Warglaive. Same exact profile there. So 12-inch move, toughness 10, 3-up save, 12 wounds, leadership 7, OC of 8. It's got a Melt-A-Gun as an option. That's the same we just saw. 12-inch range, Melta 2 with 1 shot. Strength 9, AP 4, and D6 damage. So D6 plus 2 if you're within 6. Questor's Heavy Stubber, Rapid Fire 3. 36-inch range with 3 shots. Strength 4, AP 1, damage 1. And then Thermal Spear, Melta 4. 24-inch range, so within half range, it's going to be plus 4 damage. It's 2 shots at strength 12, AP 4, and D6 damage. So D6 plus 4 is pretty good. Alright, Train Cleaver. This is its melee weapon. It either has a strike or a sweep. Its strike is 4 attacks, weapon skill 3 on both of those. Everything's hitting on 3s. Strength 10, AP 3, flat 3 damage. And then its sweep is 8 attacks at strength 8, AP 2, and 1 damage. It has Deadly Demise D3 and Code Chivalric. Impetuous Glory, I have no fucking idea if I said that right, but this is what it does. Each time a model makes a charged move until the end of the turn, melee weapons equipped by this model have sustained hits 1. So, Exploding 6 is great. 1 to 4 wounds, minus 1 to hit. Has a 5-up invuln against ranged attacks. It's got a Heavy Stubber, a Thermal Spear, and a Reaper Chain Cleaver. Its Heavy Stubber can be replaced with a Melt-A-Gun. It's got Vehicle, Walker, Battle Line, Imperium, and Armiger. Alright. So that's your Warglaive there. Then you have the Paladin. He moves 10, he's toughness 12 with a 3+ save, 22 wounds, leadership 6, and OC of 10. They have a bunch of different ranged weapons as options. So Icarus Autocannon, these are going to be on his top gun, like his top gun. Anti-Fly 2+, twin linked. It's got 3 shots at 48 inches, strength 7, AP 1, and a flat damage of 2. Your other option is an Iron Storm missile pod. This is blast and indirect fire. 48 inches, D6 plus 1. Strength 5, AP 0, damage 1. Melt-A-Gun. So this is Melta 2, we know that one. Questor's Heavy Stubber, we know that one now. Rapid Fire Battle Cannon. This is blast, rapid fire, D6 plus 3. 72-inch range, so within 36 inches, you're getting D6 plus 3 extra shots. And it has D6 plus 3 shots normally, so you have 6 plus 2 D6 shots within 36 inches. Strength 10, AP 1, damage 3. Storm Spear Rocket Pod, this is your other Top Gun option. 48 inches, 3 shots, strength 8, AP 2, D6 damage. Not so bad. Alright, so, combat, you have 2 different options. You have your Reaper Chainsword, either it strikes or sweeps. If you strike, it's 4 attacks, a strength 14, AP 4, and a flat 6 damage. If you have the sweep, it's 12 attacks at strength 9, AP 3, and 2 damage. Then you have your Thunderstrike Gauntlet, either a strike or sweep. If you strike, it's 4 attacks at strength 20, AP 3, and a flat 8 damage. Or it's 8 attacks at strength 10, AP 2, and a flat 3 damage. This has Deadly Demise D6, Code Chivalric, Heavy Walker, and then Paladin's Duties. This is your Bondsman ability on this guy. While this model is affected by this ability, its weapons have lethal hits and lance. Alright, so 6 is auto wound, and you're +1 to wound when you do stuff. That's not bad. And then this guy has Seasoned Noble, so once per phase, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or 1 saving throw for this model. It's once per phase, so not bad. While this model has 1 to 7 wounds remaining, subtract 5 from the objective control and 1 from the hit. It's got a 5-up invuln. It's got a Melt-A-Gun, its Questor's Heavy Stubber, and a Rapid Fire Battle Cannon, and then its Reaper Chainsword. Its Melt-A-Gun can be replaced with a Heavy Stubber. Its Chainsword can be replaced with the Gauntlet, and then its Top Gun can be autocannons, Iron Storm Missile Pods, or Storm Spear Rocket Pods. Alright. It's a Vehicle, Walker, Titanic, Towering, Questorus character, Imperium. So here you have the Knight Errant next. This guy moves 10, toughness 12, 3-up save, 22 wounds, so he's the same profile, leadership 6, OC 10. Icarus Autocannon, so that's the same Top Gun, that's 3 shots, strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage, so 48 inches. That's Anti-Fly 2+, and twin linked, so rerolls wounds. Got your Missile Pod, your Iron Storm Missile Pod, blast with indirect, 48 inches, D6 plus 1 shots, but just strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage. Melt-A-Gun, and then Questor's Heavy Stubber. Storm Spear Rocket Pod, that's 48 inches, that's 3 shots, strength 8, AP 2, and D6 damage. And this guy's got the Thermal Cannon, so this is Blast and D6... No, this is Blast and Melta 6. 24-inch range with 2 D3 shots, strength 12, AP 4, and D6 damage. So D6 plus 6 damage within 12 inches, which he can get there pretty good. Things within the midfield will definitely die to that. Minimum 2 shots, not so bad. Reaper Chainsword, it's the same as above. So it's 4 attacks at strength 14, AP 4, and 6 damage, or it's 12 attacks at strength 9, AP 3, and 2 damage. If you take the gauntlet, it's going to be 4 attacks at strength 20, AP 3, and flat 8 damage, or 8 attacks at strength 10, AP 2, and 3 damage. Deadly Demise D6, Code Chivalric, and Super Heavy Walker. And then you have Errant's Duty. While this model is affected by this ability, you can reroll. While a model is affected by this ability, you can reroll advanced rolls made for that model, and its ranged weapons have Assault. So, kind of weird. Aggravated Assault, that's a magic card. Each time this model makes a ranged attack against the closest eligible target, add 1 to the hit roll. Not so bad, I guess, but easy to put something unimportant as the closest thing, so pretty bad, actually. I lied. It's bad. Damage, 1 to 7 wounds. Subtract 5 from the OC and subtract 1 from the hit roll. It's got a 5-up invulnerable save. Comes with a Meltagun, Thermal Cannon, and a Chainsword. Its Meltagun can be a Heavy Stubber. Its Chainsword can be a Thunderstrike Gauntlet, and then it can take a Top Gun, which is going to be the Autocannon, the Ironstorm Missile Pod, or the Storm Spear Rocket Pod. It is a Vehicle Walker Titanic Towering Questoris character. So these things are characters and they are vehicles. So for secondary purposes, that's something to consider. Alright, so next is the Knight Gallant here. So he moves 12, so he's faster. Toughness 12, 3-up saves. It's the same otherwise, he just moves 12. Top guns are the same. Icarus Autocannons, Iron Storm Missile, Storm Spear Rocket, and then he has a Meltagun or a Heavy Stubber in his chest. So those are all the same, they all hit on 3s, their profiles are the same. In combat, though, he is a little bit better, so he has the same he's got the same things here, but he gets both of them. He gets the Chainsword and the Gauntlet. If he uses the Chainsword, he gets 6 attacks with the strike. Everything here hits on 2s, that's what makes him good, like real good in combat. 6 attacks at strength 14, AP 4, flat 6 damage hitting on 2s. Just get fucked. Or he's got 18 attacks at strength 9, AP 4, and flat 2 damage hitting on 2s. Or if he uses his big hand instead of his big saw blade, his big hand has 6 attacks at strength 20, AP 3, and 8 damage, or 12 attacks at strength 10, AP 2, and 3 damage, and again, they hit on 2s. So, pretty cool. This thing will definitely murder some stuff in combat. Hopefully it's cheap. Deadly Demise D6, Chivalric Code, Super Heavy Walker, Gallant Duty, Bondsman ability. While a model is affected by this ability, you can reroll charge rolls made for that model, and each time it makes a melee attack, you can reroll the hit roll. That's pretty good. Martial Pride, each time this model makes a melee attack, each time a melee attack targets this model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So he's -1 to hit in combat. He's got a 5-up invuln against ranged attacks. He's got a Meltagun, Thunderstrike Gauntlet, and Reaper Chainsword. His Meltagun can be replaced with a Questoris Heavy Stubber, and then you can take a Top Gun, which will be either the Autocannons, which is that 3-shot strength 7 thing, anti-fly 2+, the out-of-line of shooting Iron Storm Missile Pod, or the kind of all-rounder Storm Spear Rocket Pod that's D6 damage. I'd probably go with the Rocket Pod every time. That's just me. Tell me what you think down below, though. Vehicle Walker Titanic, Towering Questoris character from the Imperium. And then we have the Warden. So he's back to just a 10-inch move, but otherwise is the same. So his profile is the same. His Gatling Cannon is something that he gets. So this big giant chain gun, 36 inches, 18 shots, strength 6, AP 2, and a flat 2 damage. Pretty good weapon right there. It comes with an inbuilt heavy flamer that ignores cover and torrent, 12-inch range, D6 shots, strength 5, AP 1, and 1 damage. And then you can take top guns. So Icarus Autocannon, Iron Storm Missile Pod, and also that Storm Spear Missile Rocket Pod at the bottom there. His chest gun is either going to be that Meltagun or the Heavy Stubber. So really, the only difference here between like all of these is what guns it's carrying or if it's got 2 close combat weapons. Top guns are the same, chest guns are the same. It's all the same. Every day is exactly the same. Melee weapons, it's got a Reaper Chainsword or a Gauntlet. So this is going to be your regular profile. So not hitting on 2s, nothing crazy. It's back to the 4 attacks on 3s for both profiles. So this guy's pretty good. Deadly Demise D6, Chivalric Code, Super Heavy Walker. And then Warden's Duty, it's a bondsman ability. While a model is affected by this ability, each time an attack is allocated to that model, subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack. So good. This thing is so good. It's just too bad he can't give it to himself anymore. That's a real shame. Each time this model makes a ranged attack that targets an enemy unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, devastating wounds, baby. It's great. While this model has 1 to 7 wounds remaining, subtract 5 from the OC and 1 from the hit roll. You know, I'd probably take him with the iron or whatever. I'd give him as many shots as possible and just try to get devastating wounds on stuff. Probably the Storm Spear still. Definitely the Heavy Stubber. Keep the Heavy Flamer and the Gatling Cannon. Yeah, I like it. 5 up and bolt against ranged attacks, if I didn't already say it. He's got his Chain Gun, his Heavy Flamer, a Melt-A-Gun, and a Chain Sword. You can replace his Chain Sword with the other thing, with the Gauntlet. You can replace his Melt-A-Gun with the Heavy Stubber, and then you can take a Top Gun, which can either be the Autocannon, Missile Pod, or Rocket Pod. He's a Vehicle, Walker, Titanic, Towering, Quaestorus character, Imperium. Knight Crusader. So we're back to the same profile here. 10-inch move, otherwise the same. T12, 3-up save, 22 wounds, Leadership 6, and OC 10. This guy's going to have 2 ranged guns, so he's going to be real shooty. He's got an Avenger Gatling Cannon, which we just saw. That was 36-inch range at 18 shots. Strength 6, AP 2, and damage 2. Of course, everything's hitting on 3s here. It comes with that inbuilt Heavy Flamer with Ignores Cover and Torrent. And then you have your Top Gun, so your Icarus Autocannon, the twin-linked anti-fly thing. Your out-of-line-of-sight shooting Iron Storm Missile Pod. And then his chest gun is a Melt-A-Gun. Quaestorus Heavy Stubber is something else he can take. A Rapid-Fire Battle Cannon is going to be in his other arm. So we saw this, but it's going to be Blast, Rapid-Fire D6 plus 3, 72-inch range, and D6 plus 3 shots. So within half range, which is 36, 6 plus 2D6 shots. Strength 10, AP 1, damage 3. Pretty good weapon. Storm Spear Rocket Pod, that's his other Top Gun. Strength 8, AP 2, D6 damage with 3 shots at 48 inches. Thermal Cannon, that's going to be Blast and Melt a 6. 24-inch range, 2d3 shots, strength 12, AP 4, d6 damage, and then Titanic Feet. Alright, so Titanic Feet are 4 attacks, weapon skill 3, strength 8, AP 1, damage 2. Got Deadly Demise d6 and Code Chivalric with Super Heavy Walker. Crusader's Duty, it's a bondsman ability. While a model is affected by that ability, you add 1 to hit rolls for ranged attacks. And then Punishing Salvos. In your movement phase, if this guy remains stationary until the start of your next movement phase, this model's ranged weapons have sustained hits of 1. So, I'm not a big fan of this guy. He's cool with the double guns. I just don't know. Damaged. 1 to 7 wounds remaining. Well, he has 1 to 7 wounds remaining. Subtract 5 from his OC and 1 from hit rolls. He's got a 5 bin volt against ranged attacks. He comes with a Gatling Cannon, a Heavy Flamer, a Melt-A-Gun, a Thermal Cannon, and Titanic Feet. His Melt-A-Gun can be a Heavy Stubber. His Thermal Cannon can be a Rapid-Fire Battle Cannon and another Heavy Stubber. And then he can take a Top Gun, either the Autocannon, the Iron Storm, or the Storm Spear. He's a Vehicle, Walker, Titanic, Towering, Quaestorus character. And Imperium, of course. Preceptor. I think we got like, what, 2 left, I think? Probably, maybe more. Knight Preceptor, he moves 10. He's toughness 12, 3-up save, 22 wounds, leadership 6, and OC 10 like everyone else. He's got the same Top Gun options, but his main gun is the Las Impulsor, so it's either high intensity or low intensity. They're both blast. The high intensity is 24-inch range, D6 shots, strength 14, AP 3 and 4 damage flat. If it's low intensity, it's still blast, 36-inch range, 2d6 shots, strength 7, AP 1, and 2 damage. Alright. Melt-A-Gun, and then Preceptor Multi-Laser, so 36-inch range with 4 shots, strength 6, AP 0, 1 damage, pretty poopy. Heavy Stubber, of course. Rocket Pod on top, of course. And then normal profile for melee, so with your Chainsword, you either have your 4 attacks at strength 14 or your 12 attacks at strength 9. And then if you have your Gauntlet, you have 4 attacks at strength 20, and you have 8 attacks at strength 10. They're all hitting on 3, so they're all the same. The only one that was different was the guy that was good in combat. Deadly Demise D6 and Chivalric Code with Super Heavy Walker, and then Mentor. Bondsman. While this model is affected by this ability, improve this model's leadership characteristic by 1 and improve that model's objective control by 2. Exemplar of the code. At the start of the battle, select 1 unit from your opponent's army. Each time this model makes an attack that targets that unit, you can reroll a hit roll. It should be reroll the hit roll and the wound roll or something like that. So if it's damaged, it's a -5 OC and -1 to hit. It's got a 5-up invuln. Against ranged attacks, it comes with a Las Impulsor, Preceptor Multi-Laser, and Reaper Chainsword. Then this model's Preceptor Multi-Laser can be replaced with a Meltagun or the Questoris Heavy Stubber. It can take a Thunderstrike Gauntlet instead of its Chainsword, and then its top gun can be the Autocannon, the Missile Pod, or the Rocket Pod, all the same as above. Vehicle, Walker, Titanic, Towering, Questoris Character, Imperium. So many keywords, dude. So next you have the Knight Castellan. This guy moves 8, he's toughness 13 with a 2+ save and 24 wounds, leadership 6 and OC 10. Okay, so if you can give this guy the Armor of Contempt thing, probably makes him pretty much invulnerable to shooting. And to combat, I guess. He's got 24 wounds at toughness 13. Alright, so Plasma Decimator, that's this thing here. It's got 2 different profiles because it's a plasma gun. They're both blast, one becomes hazardous if you overcharge it. They're both 48 inches with D6 plus 3 shots, everything hits on 3s. It's either Strength 8, AP2, 2 damage, or Strength 9, AP3, and 3 damage. Shield Breaker Missile Launcher, Anti-Titanic, 4+, and Devastating Wounds. 72-inch range, 1 shot. Strength 12, AP6, D6 plus 1 damage. And then Meltagun, Twin Meltagun. Melta2 and Twin Linked, so it's a Meltagun that rerolls wounds. Twin Siegebreaker Cannon, Blast and Twin Linked. You got 36-inch range, D6 shots, Strength 6, AP0, and 1 damage. Poopy Poops, Volcano Lance Blast, 72-inch range, D3 shots, Strength 18, AP5, and D6 plus 8 damage. Okay. Very good. Titanic Feet, Board attacks hitting on 4, Strength 8, AP1, and damage 2. Deadly Demise, D6 plus 2, so it explodes real big. Chivalric Code, minimum 3. Chivalric Code, Super Heavy Walker, and then Ion Aegis, which is an aura. It gives cover to all armor goers within 6, and then Titan Hunter. Each time a ranged attack is made by this model is allocated to a monster vehicle. Reroll the damage roll of 1. Ugh. Okay. What a piece of shit. 1 to 8 wounds left, subtract 1 from OC, and -1 to hit. It's got a 5-up invuln. It comes with a Plasma Decimator, 2 Shieldbreaker missile launchers, 2 Twin Meltaguns, Twin Siegebreaker Cannon, and a Volcano Lance, and that's feet. Don't worry about its upgrades, you're not going to do that. So Vehicle, Walker, Titanic, Towering, Dominus Character. So the Dominus Character, Imperium. Then you have the Valiant. So same exact thing, he moves 8, toughness 13, 2-up save, 24 wounds, and leadership 6 and OC 10. He's got Flamer, though. This Flamer ignores cover and torrent with an 18-inch range and 3d6 shots. Strength 8, AP1, 2 damage. Twin Meltagun, that's going to be a twin-linked Meltagun. It's going to have 2 of those. Shield Breaker Missiles, same as above, so Anti-Titanic 4+, and then Devastating Wounds. 1 shot at 72 inches, Strength 12, AP6, D6 plus 1 damage. Then this thing has a Thunder Coil Harpoon, that's Anti-Monster 4+. Anti-Vehicle 4+, Devastating Wounds, 18-inch range, 1 shot. But it hits on 2s. It is Strength 24, it is AP6, and it is a flat 12 damage, so if you do get that 4-up to wound against a monster or vehicle, it's probably just dead, unless it's a Wave Serpent, or a Tau vehicle, or any Lehman Russ, or a Land Raider, or basically any good vehicle that isn't 12 wounds or less. It does not insta-kill it. So it's Twin Siegebreaker Cannon, that's Blast Twin Linked, 36-inch range, D6 shots, Strength 6, AP0, 1 damage, is poop, whatever. Titanic Feet, again, same thing, 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, Strength 8, AP1, damage 2. Big old Deadly Demise, D6 plus 2, Chivalric Code, and then Super Heavy Walker. So again, it gives cover to armorers within 6, and then Overwhelming Firestorm in your shooting phase after this model's shot. Yeah, you take a Battle Shock test. Isn't that a great ability, guys? Don't you just love those abilities? Isn't that just the fucking best ability it could have gotten ever? I love it. I'm really glad it has that. If it gets damaged, it's -5 OC and -1 to hit. It's got a 5-up invuln against ranged, like everything else. Alright, so, Conflagration Cannon, 2 Shieldbreaker Missile Launchers, Thunder Coil Harpoon, 2 Twin Meltaguns, Twin Siegebreaker Cannon, and Titanic Feet. Alright, this model's 2 Shieldbreaker Missiles, no one cares. Okay. It's got a Vehicle Walker, Titanic, Towering, Dominus Character, Imperium, and then we have Canis Rex. This guy's awesome. So Canis Rex, he moves 10, he's toughness 12, He's got a 3-up save, 22 wounds, leadership 5, and OC of 10. So he's really, really brave. He has Chainbreaker, Las Impulsor. So this is blast and sustained hits 1. It's got 2 different profiles. High intensity is 24 inches, hits on 2s, strength 14, AP 3, and a flat 4 damage. If you do its low intensity, it's also blast and sustained hits, 36 inch range, 2d6 shots, hits on 2s, strength 7, AP 1, damage 2. And then you have your Chainbreaker Multi-Laser, that's sustained hits 1, 36 inch range with 4 shots, hitting on 2s, strength 6, AP 0, 1 damage. Everything he has hits on 2s. Then in combat, he has Freedom's Hand. It's got 2 different profiles, of course. They have sustained hits 1. 5 attacks, strength 20, AP 3, and flat 9 damage, or 10 attacks, strength 10, AP 2, flat 3 damage. Deadly Demise D6, Code Chivalric, Super Heavy Walker, Legendary Freeblade. Once per turn, you can target this model with a stratagem for 0 CP, and you can do so even after, oh wow, you can target this model with a strat for free. So good, even if a different thing's been targeted by it, that's really good. Each time this model makes an attack, an unmodified successful hit roll of 5+ scores a critical hit. So any 5-ups are just 6s explode, exploding 5s in this case, to hit for all of his things. Shooting, combat, all of it. Pretty cool. Yeah, 1 to 7 wounds remaining, you're -1 to hit and -5 OC with a 5-up invuln against ranged attacks. Alright, he himself, if his vehicle gets destroyed, he comes out. So he's movement 6, he's toughness 3 with a 4-up save and 3 wounds, and then leadership 5 and OC 1. This is Sir Hector. He's got a pistol, it's strength 5, AP 1, and 2 damage, hitting on 2s, 12 inch range. And then he's got a close combat weapon, it's 2 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 3, AP 0, 1 damage. He's a lone operative, and then it has using Sir Hector. When your Canis Rex model is destroyed, Sir Hector is treated as a model disembarked from a transport. Set him up within 3 inches of the Canis Rex model before it's removed. Sir Hector then uses the profile, war gear abilities, blah, 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 blah. The important part here is at the bottom. Your Canis Rex unit is not considered to be destroyed until Sir Hector is also destroyed. So that's awesome. And that's it. That has brought us to the end of this episode. It has brought us to the end of the Imperial Knights. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. Their abilities are awesome. Getting that reroll hit and wound of 1 every time they shoot or fight. That comes into play basically every time you shoot or fight. So that's a great ability. Becoming Honored and getting that 5-up Feel No Pain, that is also really good. Obviously these models are expensive, they're points-wise, so it's hard to build efficient lists, I think. But with some allies in there, with some assassins, some other stuff, you can definitely build some interesting lists with these guys. So I'm really liking it. I really like them a lot. It's a shame that they got super duper nerfed. They got nerfed like 4 ways to fucking hell. But they're still fun to play, and I encourage you guys to do that. So let me know what you thought down below. Leave a comment and let us know what you thought about the Imperial Knights Index here for 10th edition. Tell us if you love it, if you hate it, and just tell us how you've been faring against Imperial Knights if you don't play Imperial Knights. Of course, you guys gotta like this video as well. Stomp the like button with the force of a thunder stomp. Subscribe to Theory Hammer. I love you guys so much. Hit the bell icon. And I will see you in the next one.